Chapter 261 News about Xiao etc. He Pingxing called out to the male cultivator, Are you Uncle Cheng?
Ah.
The male cultivator turned around and looked at He Pingxing. Then he rubbed his eyes hard, stared at He Pingxing for a few breaths, and shook his head, saying, I don't know you. He Pingxing laughed, You don't recognize me, but I do recognize you. Your granddaughter's name is Xiao He, isn't it? Old Cheng nodded, Yes. He Pingxing shook his head and smiled wryly, saying, Ah, heaven is impartial, and the fate of immortals in this world is truly wondrous. Back then, he stayed at Old Man Cheng's house, pretending to be Old Man Cheng's son to evade the search by the Qi royal family. Before leaving, He Pingxing discovered that Xiao He actually had a single fire spiritual root, so he left the Qi refining chapter of the true fire separation method to Old Man Cheng. Let Uncle Cheng be in charge of teaching Xiao He. Result: Old Master Cheng himself has reached the 11th level of Qi refining. Can you believe that? At first, we only symbolically tested Xiao He's spiritual root and found that she had a single fire spiritual root. But who would have thought that an old man in his 60s or 70s would also have a spiritual root? Moreover, because of He Pingxing, this old man inexplicably embarked on the path of cultivation. This scene filled He Pingxing with deep emotion. A destiny to immortality is something some people yearn for but cannot attain, while others, with white hair and grey hair, embark on the path to immortality. Speechless. Uncle Cheng, may I ask you something? He Pingxing asked, What kind of spiritual root do you have? At this point, Old Man Cheng still didn't recognize He Pingxing, since He Pingxing had never shown his true face when he was with them. Old Cheng had never seen He Pingxing's current appearance before. This, I can't say. Old Cheng looked troubled. He Pingxing said, You still don't recognize me? I hid in your house for over a month back then. I gave you and Xiao He your martial arts techniques. I've simply changed my appearance.
Ah.
Old Cheng was immediately taken aback. You. He was so excited he was speechless. After a long silence, he finally said, So it was you.
Oh.
My benefactor. I never expected to run into you today. My benefactor. I. Old Cheng was so excited that he could hardly speak. He Pingxing looked at him with a smile. After a long while, he remembered the question He Pingxing had asked and said, My benefactor, my old man's spiritual root is exactly the same as my granddaughter's, both are single fire spiritual roots. He Pingxing was speechless. But after thinking about it, I feel at ease. If he didn't have a single spiritual root, how could he have cultivated from a mortal to the 12th level of the Qi refining stage in 12 years? Absolutely impossible. Where's Xiao He? He Pingxing asked. Old Man Cheng said, Xiao He came with me. Wait a moment. Where is my great benefactor? Please wait a moment, I will go and find Xiao He right away. About an hour later, Old Man Cheng led Xiao He in from outside the door. Xiao He, I won't lie to you. Look. After the old man pulled Xiao He over, he pointed at He Pingxing. However, Xiao He remained expressionless. No, this isn't father. He Pingxing smiled and said, Xiao He, when I was at your house, I was in disguise to avoid my enemies. So it's normal that you didn't recognize me. Listen to my voice. When I left, I showed you your spiritual root, gave your grandfather some mid-grade spirit stones, a flying sword, a cultivation technique, and a divine ability called Fire Crow Technique. Do you remember now? Xiao He nodded after He Pingxing said that. Then she burst into tears. Dad! I finally found you. He Pingxing immediately looked embarrassed. Old Mr. Cheng was also embarrassed standing next to him. Cough, cough, cough. Old Man Cheng pulled his granddaughter and said, Child, this isn't your father. He was just in disguise. Xiao He said, I understand. But I just feel like he's my father. I always feel like my father is still alive. He Pingxing said, All right, stop crying, sit down. Tell me, how have you cultivated yourselves all these years? and how did you end up in Redstone City of Liang Kingdom? The three of them sat down, and Xiao He began to tell He Pingxing about their cultivation stories. After obtaining He Pingxing's cultivation method, the old man began to practice it first. Because Xiao He couldn't understand what was being said at first. I can't explain it. It took Xiao He 2 or 3 years of study before she could barely understand human speech, and it took her 4 years to understand those difficult cultivation methods. Therefore, Xiao He began his cultivation 6 or 7 years later than old man Cheng. Later, the two of them stayed at home to cultivate. When they were hungry, they would eat ordinary food. Fortunately, He Pingxing gave them a lot of mid-grade spirit stones before he left. When they cultivate, they can directly draw energy from this spirit stone. Besides spirit stones, there were also some qi gathering pills. A few years later, the old man's cultivation level increased, and his granddaughter Xiaohe's cultivation level also gradually improved. Later, the two of them almost exhausted their cultivation resources and had no choice but to go down the mountain to Far West City. Because of the affairs of the Qi royal family, things were also unstable in the Far West City. Last year, the two of them followed a merchant caravan from Qi to Liang and settled in Redstone City. Their cultivation and growth process was relatively smooth, and there weren't many interesting stories. He Pingxing glanced at her and saw that Xiao He's cultivation level was relatively low, only at the 6th level of the Qi refining stage. My dear reader, there's more to, even more exciting content awaits. That's understandable, since she hasn't been cultivating for very long. All right then. He Pingxing looked at Xiao He and said, "From now on, you don't need to call me Dad anymore. All your skills and cultivation are thanks to me. From today onwards, you will call me Master." Upon hearing this, Cheng Xiaohe was overjoyed and knelt before He Pingxing, kowtowing and saying, "Yes, Master." Old man Cheng, standing nearby, looked bitter and said, "So, you're saying all these skills I have were taught by you? Should I become your apprentice too? But if I do, wouldn't I be on the same generation as my granddaughter? That won't do, that won't do. What should we do?" He Pingxing chuckled and said, "No need. Uncle Cheng, from now on you will be my elder. Since you don't have anywhere to settle down right now, why don't you stay at my alchemy shop and help me look after it? You'll also get some cultivation resources. How about it?" Old man Cheng said, "That's wonderful." The Cheng family, grandfather and grandson, have finally settled down. He Pingxing had originally planned to recruit 2 Qi refining stage disciples to guard the shop, but now he has the advantage of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. He has found the person he needed, and now Xiao He and his grandson have a place to stay. "Master, take a look, this is a list." A few days later, Cheng Xiaohe suddenly took out a jade slip and placed it in front of He Pingxing. These past few days, He Pingxing gave her a new task, to organize the jade slips. He Pingxing has killed many people over the years and has a lot of jade slips, many of which he has never read. It would be good to have Xiao He organize them, thinking about what to do and what to keep. A list. He Pingxing frowned, then pressed the jade slip to his forehead. A line of text appeared, "List of new disciples of the Carefree Immortal Sect." Below is a dense list of hundreds of names. He Pingxing scanned the area with his divine sense and suddenly saw a name, Xiao Xiaoqiao. Chapter 262 The Heaven-Defying Youth-Preserving Pill. He Pingxing withdrew his divine sense. He examined the jade slip carefully. List of newly admitted disciples of the free and unfettered immortal sect. Wait a minute. How did I get this kind of jade slip? Slap. After thinking for a breath, He Pingxing suddenly slapped his forehead. I know. The Carefree Immortal Sect. There is only one person related to the Xiaoyao Immortal Sect, and that is Bai Shangli, the Golden Core Stage Elder who was killed by He Pingxing more than 10 years ago. That means this list was compiled from Bai Shangli's belongings. In other words, this is a list of new disciples from the Xiaoyao Immortal Sect more than a decade ago. Has Xiao Xiaoqiao entered the Xiaoyao Immortal Sect? He Pingxing was stunned. However, the possibility of having the same name cannot be ruled out. After all, Redstone County is very large, and it's not impossible for people to have the same name. Okay,
You understand?
He Pingxing looked at Xiao He and said, Xiao He, go and continue organizing. I'll leave this jade slip here. While the possibility of someone sharing the same name cannot be ruled out, there is a high probability that this person is indeed Xianxia. First, the timing matches up. Second, the name Xiao Qiao is unlikely to be repeated. We still need to go to the Xiaoyao immortal sect to find out the truth. However, He Pingxing will not go now. Let's wait and see. We'll make a decision after Qiao Huizhu comes back. Anyway, Qiao Huizhu always comes back every 1 or 2 months. He Pingxing put this matter aside for the time being and then focused on being a good manager at the front desk. A few days later, the alchemy shop welcomed its second ever customer. The person who came was a Taoist nun, who looked to be about 50 years old. Of course, that's just what it looks like. It's hard to say exactly how old he is. He Pingxing did not scrutinize the woman's cultivation level, as this would be considered polite. Hello, our shop sells some pills. The selection isn't very complete yet, but we have the basic ones. What would you like to order? He Pingxing respectfully led the Taoist nun into the shop. The Taoist nun said, I'd like to see the spirit gathering pill. Do you have any here? Yes, I have this. He Pingxing said, come over here and take a look. There are 3 shelves inside the medicine shop. The first shelf has first-grade pills, then second-grade and third-grade pills. He Pingxing led the Taoist nun to the second shelf. Here are some second-grade pills such as Spirit Gathering Pill, Foundation Building Pill, Healing Pill, and Youth Preservation Pill. Of course, each type of elixir comes in 2 grades, medium and high. As for the Youth Preservation Pill and the Healing Pill, there are top-grade versions of them. You actually have high-grade items here. The female cultivator exclaimed in shock. He Pingxing smiled and said, yes, we have both mid-grade and high-grade. The female cultivator even opened the high-grade spirit gathering pill for a look and said, not bad. How much is this high-grade pill? He Pingxing said, a high-grade spirit gathering pill costs 10,000 low-grade spirit stones per batch. Mid-grade, 2,000 low-grade spirit stones per batch. This price is fair. This is the price listed in the Chamber of Commerce. The female cultivator was somewhat dissatisfied and said, the Red Moon Merchant Guild's prices are the same. How can your little shop sell them for so much? Shouldn't small shops offer lower prices? He Pingxing smiled and said, our pills are of better quality than those in the Chamber of Commerce. How about this? If you really want it, I can consider giving you a 10% discount. Which one do you want? Upon hearing that it was a 10% discount, the female cultivator's dissatisfaction immediately subsided. She chuckled and said, this one will do, this medium grade. 1. How about 1,800 spirit stones? Yes. He Pingxing nodded. This thing produces 12 pieces per batch, which is 200 spirit stones cheaper than the Merchant Guild's price. After buying the spirit gathering pill, the Taoist nun raised her eyes and looked at the youth preservation pill above her head, asking, do you have any youth preservation pills here? And it's top quality. The second-grade youth preserving pill is not expensive. Some female cultivators don't use it for 2 reasons. Firstly, it's a waste of cultivation resources. Secondly, these women are generally not very attractive. It doesn't have much effect on preserving youthful appearance. But the best anti-aging pills are different. She can make people a few degrees more beautiful. It can transform an ordinary-looking female cultivator into someone quite attractive. That's where the value lies. Yes. He Pingxing replied with a beaming smile, fellow Taoist, would you like one? The female cultivator hesitated for a moment, then asked, how many spirit stones is one? He Pingxing smiled and said, because it's a top-grade elixir, it's a bit expensive. This one will cost 5,000 low-grade spirit stones. Hiss. The female cultivator gasped in shock, so expensive. Beauty, indeed, comes at a price. 1 top-grade youth preservation pill is enough for her to buy 2.5 bottles of 30 mid-grade spirit gathering pills. It's not expensive at all. He Pingxing said, youth is priceless, beauty is priceless. The woman then asked, "Is it true that the legendary top-grade anti-aging elixir can make people more beautiful?" He Pingxing said, "It's true. Can you make it cheaper?" "Okay, I'll give you a 10% discount. Just give me 4,500 spirit stones each. After you buy it, just take it here. If it doesn't work, I'll return all the spirit stones I charged you. Is that okay?" "Fine." The female cultivator gritted her teeth, then returned the spirit gathering pill to He Pingxing, saying, "I don't want this pill anymore. I'll give you an extra 2,700 spirit stones in exchange for a youth preservation pill." He Pingxing was somewhat surprised. But he didn't show it. Instead, he smiled and said, "Okay." After accepting the spirit stones, He Pingxing took out a top-grade anti-aging pill and handed it to the female cultivator. The female cultivator looked at it and indeed saw 4 pill patterns on it. She said, "That's right." After saying that, she swallowed the elixir in one gulp. A magical scene happened. Changes gradually occurred in the woman. Her skin became whiter and more delicate. "The wrinkles on my face are gone." In an instant, his appearance returned to his youth. However, this woman's natural appearance is really ordinary. "That's wrong." The woman looked at herself in the mirror and said, "She looks exactly the same as when I was young. Why hasn't she become more beautiful?" He Pingxing was also puzzled. "It's impossible. How about?" He thought about returning the spirit stone to others. As a result, before she finished speaking, the woman's appearance suddenly changed. After a period of distortion of the facial features on the woman's face, and she couldn't breathe for about 10 seconds, she transformed from an ordinary female cultivator into a pretty beauty. "At least, it looks much better than before. I've become more beautiful. I've really become more beautiful. Woo!" The woman's body was shaking non-stop, and her whole body was full of excitement. Flowers are no longer red, and people are no longer young. But those who cultivate immortality can defy nature and keep themselves young forever. Even He Pingxing couldn't help but sigh. If you like Cornucopia Bowl, please collect it. www.shuhaiju.net. Cornucopia Bowl Shuhage Novel Network has the fastest update speed on the entire internet. Chapter 263 The Third Way 2 months later. Xiao Huizhu hasn't returned yet, but she'll be back soon. One of the love charms in He Pingxing's storage bag stirred. He picked it up and glanced at it. Xiao Huizhu had left a message, arriving home in 3 days. Since he returned in 3 days, He Pingxing did not tell her about Xianxia. "Let's talk about it when we get back." Master. Outside, "Xiao," he said anxiously, "they've started fighting again. Why don't you go and take a look?" He Pingxing strolled out of a room in the courtyard behind the shop and asked lazily, "No one died, right?" "Xiao," he said, "No, they were 2 disciples in the qi refining stage." He Pingxing smiled. In the past 2 months, He Pingxing's alchemy shop has become increasingly famous. There are 2 reasons. First, his alchemy shop has high-grade pills, and sometimes even top-grade ones for sale. Secondly, the quality of his pills is indeed better than ordinary ones. Take, for example, the spirit gathering pill that a foundation establishment cultivator consumes during their cultivation. Although both are mid-grade spirit gathering pills, his pills are 1/3 more potent than the mid-grade spirit gathering pills in the Merchant Guild. People will understand once they taste it, and they will definitely come back to buy it. In just 2 months, the alchemy shop was packed with customers. Even if He Pingxing refined pills non-stop for a whole day, he couldn't possibly refine that many. Moreover, even if it could be crafted, the treasure basin couldn't be enhanced. The current limit of the treasure basin is that it can enhance 2 batches of spirit gathering pills per day. After enhancement, it can enhance 4 batches. Of course, this is top quality. If you don't want the best quality and only want to upgrade it to the high quality, then you can upgrade it 8 times. That's all. However, when strengthening the spirit gathering pill, the yuan gathering pill cannot be strengthened. There are also pills like foundation building pills and origin rejuvenation pills waiting to be used for enhancement. So, he later simply started implementing purchase restrictions. Only 2 batches of spirit gathering pills and 4 batches of qi gathering pills are sold daily. As for the 3rd grade pills, some are released out periodically. This has 2 advantages. First, it doesn't have to be too tiring. Secondly, there's no need to offend the Chamber of Commerce. If there were a large, unlimited supply, do you think this shop could still stay open? Therefore, fights often broke out in front of the alchemy shop. Because of the purchase restrictions, some people want to cut in line. Then, they started fighting after a while. Don't worry about it. He Pingxing waved his hand and said, let them fight. By the way, after we sell out today, write a notice that the store will be closed for the next month. Xiao He looked surprised. Why are you closing down? He Pingxing's face darkened. Because we're losing money. Go ahead, don't ask any more. Xiao He didn't dare to ask any more questions, but she knew she definitely wouldn't lose money. Actually, although we didn't lose money, we didn't make much either. He thought that even if he did nothing, he could get 4 mid-grade spirit stones a day by throwing ordinary spirit stones into the treasure basin. This is 40,000 spirit stones. Strengthening pills are slightly better than this, but there aren't many of them. Besides, He Pingxing was just creating a gimmick to make everyone aware of Xiaoxiao's alchemy shop, so that they could search for Xiaoxiao. It's not for making money. Why make things so tiring? Do you believe that closing down will actually increase your reputation? Starting tomorrow, everyone on the streets will be talking about this alchemy shop. Master, master. After selling the pills, Xiao He ran over again and said, something else has come up. He Pingxing asked, what is it now? Xiao He said, someone said they are your friend and have come looking for you. My friend? He Pingxing frowned. What the hell would I have a friend? What's your name? He asked Cheng Xiaohe. Xiao He said his name is Lin Zifang, and he has important business to discuss with me. Lin Zifang? Who is Lin Zifang? I remember now. The guy who recently participated in the private trade fair organized by Elder Ling Zhiwang of the Red Moon Chamber of Commerce, and traded his family's inherited formation technique with He Pingxing for a copy of the Hahuan Jiji Jing, a classic text on the practice of harmonious union. Good. He Pingxing walked out of the backyard and came to the shop in front. The shop is closed. There was a person standing in the room. It was Lin Zifang. Upon seeing He Pingxing, Lin Zifang was overjoyed and exclaimed, fellow Daoist Shu. Ha ha ha. That's wonderful. It really is your alchemy shop. Fellow Daoist Lin, please come in. He Pingxing invited Lin Zifang to sit down in the back courtyard. Xiao He was very perceptive and brewed a pot of spiritual tea, bringing it over. He Pingxing personally served tea, asking as he poured, fellow Daoist Lin, is there anything I can do for you this time? Lin Zifang said, isn't it because I'm about to break through to the next level? I came here specifically to ask you for a batch of pills. Look. I brought all the materials for alchemy with me. Look. With a wave of his hand, he took out a jade box, opened it himself, and said, according to the rules of the martial world, 1 batch of pills requires 5 sets of materials. Do you think this will work? He Pingxing looked at the materials, raised an eyebrow, and exclaimed in surprise, materials for the Chaoyuan pill. You broke through. He remembered that at the last trade fair, Lin Zifang was only at the 11th level of the foundation establishment stage. You're on the 11th floor and still stuck in a bottleneck? What kind of Chaoyuan pill are you trying to refine? The next moment, He Pingxing's divine sense burst forth and swept over Lin Zifang. To his surprise, he discovered that this guy was already on the 12th floor. I'm so envious. He Pingxing was so envious he was practically drooling. May I ask, Brother Lin, where did you obtain that rare and precious material that helped you break through your bottleneck? No. Lin Zifang waved his hand. There are no such rare treasures. I didn't break through using those things. Heh. Hearing this, He Pingxing became even more envious. No, then you suddenly had an epiphany. There are 2 ways to break through bottlenecks. The first one is thanks to those rare and precious natural treasures. The second is opportunity. On the edge of life and death, sometimes a breakthrough can occur suddenly, or after comprehending some profound truth about life or the great principles of the universe, there is also an opportunity to break through the bottleneck. However, it is very difficult to break through by chance. Such a situation is 1 in 10,000. Some people will not break through even if they go through life or death battles or are beaten to death.
No.
Lin Zifang shook his head again and said, I don't have that kind of opportunity. Hearing this, He Pingxing was even more puzzled. It was neither a rare treasure nor a stroke of luck. What is that? Is there a third way to break through bottlenecks in this world? He Pingxing looked at Lin Zifang with a puzzled expression. Brother Lin, may I ask for your guidance? Lin Zifang laughed heartily and said, well, I'll tell you it's not impossible. Could you use these 5 materials to refine a batch of high-grade, Chaoyuan pill? He Pingxing said, sure, my master happens to be in Redstone City right now. I'll take the materials to him later and I guarantee I'll refine a batch of top-grade Chaoyuan pills for you. Now, you can speak, right? Chapter 264 Xiao Huizhu's worries. The pills were naturally all concocted by He Pingxing, but to make it seem plausible to others, he explained that the third-grade pills were refined by his master. As for master, he was an old immortal who loved to wander the world, appearing only briefly and never quite. In this way, no one suspected anything.
Okay, hee.
Lin Zifang chuckled, then whispered, fellow Daois Shu, actually, the mystery lies in the cultivation technique you gave me. After our last transaction, I took this skill back to my family and started practicing it casually. Later, I brought a few women home to practice together, and guess what happened?
He.
It actually allowed me to break through a bottleneck.
Heh.
He Pingxing was utterly shocked. This, the Huan Jiji Sutra, can help people break through bottlenecks. This truly broadened He Pingxing's horizons. Of course. Lin Zifang said, there are 2 ways to cultivate this Huan Jiji Jing, and I use the method of absorbing and replenishing energy. If fellow Daois Shu has also encountered a bottleneck in his cultivation, you might as well give it a try. He Pingxing nodded. The Huan Jiji Sutra has 2 directions when it is practiced. The first is the art of sexual intercourse. The second is the art of complementarity. What is sexual cultivation? It is called absorbing yin to replenish yang or absorbing yang to replenish yin. When a man and a woman cultivate at the same time, one of them will benefit from the other, while the other will lose their source. This method of cultivation is too domineering. He Pingxing would definitely not use it. At least it won't be used on Xiao Huizhu. The second type is complementarity. The art of complementarity involves a man and a woman complementing each other during practice, achieving a balance of yin and yang. This is beneficial for both of them. However, this effect is clearly not as great as that of herbal supplements. Whether complementarity can break through the bottleneck remains to be seen. But you can give it a try. He Pingxing made up his mind that when senior sister Qiao returned, he would secretly cultivate with her. If she broke through the bottleneck, both of them would be able to improve. After seeing Lin Zifang off, He Pingxing picked up the 5 sets of materials left by Lin Zifang for refining the Chaoyuan pill. First, put it into the treasure basin to strengthen it. After the 5 materials were strengthened, they became 10. Moreover, the materials have all been enhanced to the highest quality. 10 sets of materials. Then go and refine the elixir. In this way, 10 batches of waste pills were produced. That's right, it's impossible for He Pingxing to refine pills beyond his level. He can only guarantee that he will produce useless pills instead of causing the furnace to explode. In this way, the 10 batches of discarded pills can be strengthened again using the treasure basin. 20 furnaces were made. As for these 20 batches of Chaoyuan pills, he enhanced 1 batch into a top-grade one. The remaining 19 batches were all only of superior quality. In this way, the best quality ones will be kept for themselves, Xiao Huizhu, or Xiao He and the others in the future. Simply put, they are for their own people. The best quality Chaoyuan pills can be sold. This thing is very valuable. The Chaoyuan pill is an essential elixir for those breaking through from the foundation establishment stage to the golden core stage, and its effects are similar to those of the Foundation Establishment pill. Therefore, when others buy it, they don't buy a whole bottle at once, they buy it one capsule at a time. What if it breaks through with just one pill? Therefore, its price is very high. A low-grade Chaoyuan pill usually costs around 30,000 to 40,000 spirit stones, but it is extremely rare and hard to come by. A mid-grade Chaoyuan pill has a roughly 50% chance of forming a core, and its price has been driven up to around 60,000 to 70,000. For top-grade items, the probability of forming a core is 80%, and the price has been pushed up to 100,000. 100,000 low-grade spirit stones are needed to get just one. As for the best quality, those are things that are priceless and unavailable. Under normal circumstances, you can't buy it. He Pingsheng wouldn't casually take out top-grade Chaoyuan pills to sell. A few days later, he summoned Lin Zifang and gave him a bottle of 12 high-grade Chaoyuan pills. Excellent! Lin Zifang said, "Fellow Daoist Shu, your master's alchemy skills are truly remarkable. I'll come back to thank you when I break through to the golden core stage. Let's go." Lin Zifang waved and left. Some people, even if you don't know them well, you can often tell at a glance that they are people worth befriending. For example, this Lin Zifang. During the last trade fair, he eventually returned the Holy Wood Shield to He Pingsheng, saying he was sorry for taking advantage of him. He Pingsheng knew then that this guy wasn't the kind of person who was greedy. I wish him success in achieving the golden core stage. After seeing Lin Zifang off, He Pingsheng took out some high-quality Chaoyuan pills and put them in the shop for sale. The shop was handed over to Xianxia and Old Man Cheng, who took turns looking after it. Now, Old Man Cheng is the caretaker, while Xianxia is in seclusion practicing cultivation. Because Old Man Cheng has encountered a bottleneck, cultivation is useless. 3 to 5 days later, Xiao Huizhu finally returned, looking travel-worn. Such a strange thing could happen in the world. After hearing Xiao He and Old Man Cheng's story, Xiao Huizhu was so surprised that she opened her mouth wide and couldn't speak. This, a predestined connection, truly amazing. Who would have thought that an ordinary old man hidden in the mountains could ascend to immortality at the age of 60? If he can break through the bottleneck and reach the Foundation Establishment stage, this old guy will probably be able to reverse his aging process, right? Aunt Xiao. Xiao He looked at Xiao Huizhu and said, "My progress is also very fast." Xiao Huizhu chuckled, "Hurry, hurry, hurry." He Pingsheng waved his hand, "Xiao He, you can go down first. Your Aunt Xiao and I have some things to discuss." Xiao He withdrew. Only the couple remained in He Pingsheng's small house. Xiao Huizhu's face flushed instantly, her eyes sparkling like a gentle spring breeze. She thought that He Pingsheng was so eager to send Xiao He away so that he could enjoy the pleasures of the goddess Xiangwang together. However, He Pingsheng took out a jade slip with a very serious expression and said, "It's my fault for being careless back then. After killing Bai Shangli, I forgot to carefully check the jade slip on his body. Senior sister, take a look at this." He handed the sword to Xiao Huizhu. Xiao Huizhu also became focused, and she took the jade slip and placed it on her forehead. The next moment, the contents of the jade slip entered her mind. She asked in surprise, "It's a list. These are all the disciples who joined the Xiaoyao immortal sect that year." She screamed as soon as she finished speaking, "This! Xiao Qiao! My God, Xiao Qiao is here!" Xiao Huizhu's body trembled uncontrollably. He looked worried. "Oh no!" She put down the jade slip and said, "Husband, this, what if Xiao Qiao is done by this old beast?" She didn't continue speaking. Did He Pingsheng know what she was worried about? Although Xiao Xiaoqiao's appearance was slightly inferior to Xiao Huizhu's, she was still a stunning beauty. If such a woman were to fall for that old beast by Shangli, she would likely be doomed. Xiao Huizhu was worried that her younger sister had been violated by that old beast. "Don't worry." He Pingsheng reached out and patted Xiao Huizhu, saying, "Since he's a new disciple, he might not have time to make a move. Now that you're back, it would be good if we went to the free and unfettered immortal sect together." Chapter 265. Seeing Xianxia again. No. I need to find out right now where the free and unfettered immortal sect is located. Xiao Huizhu was in a hurry to leave. He Pingxing reached out and grabbed her clothes, saying, "Don't worry, I've already found out." "Sit down." Xiao Huizhu then sat down. He Pingxing took out a map. His magical power surged into the jade map slip, and immediately an image of a map was projected onto the wall of the room. The map shown above is of the area surrounding Redstone City in Redstone County. I had already inquired about them before you came. He Pingxing said, the free and unfettered immortal sect is not far outside Redstone City. The sect is extremely large, and even the City Lord's mansion of Redstone City has to be wary of them. They are also one of the top 10 sects in the entire Redstone County.
Here.
There is a great mountain here, called Wuxian Mountain. The free and unfettered immortal sect is located on this Wuxian Mountain. It's a behemoth. From Redstone City to Wuxian Mountain, at our current speed, it will take us about 6 days to fly. He Pingxing looked at Xiao Huizhu and said, I've had someone look into it. Although Bai Shangli is unworthy, as one of the top 10 sects in the entire Redstone County, the Xiaoyao immortal sect's reputation is still acceptable, and it is a legitimate sect of the Xian men. Judging from the timeline, if Xiao Xiaoqiao on this list is your sister, then she has been in this sect for 11 or 12 years. A couple more days won't make a difference. You should rest for a bit. I'll go with you tomorrow, okay? Xiao Huizhu then calmed down. Yes, it won't make a difference if it's just a day or two. If it was truly ruined, then it was ruined 10 years ago. What good would it do to rush over there now? Okay. Xiao Huizhu said, I was indeed too impatient. The next day, He Pingxing handed the shop over to Old Man Cheng to manage, and then accompanied Xiao Huizhu to the Xiaoyao immortal sect. This time, the flying boat he took out was different. It was no longer the cloud-piercing boat with 4 layers of restrictions, but a top-grade spiritual artifact with 8 layers of restrictions, the 8 Treasures boat. After the 8 Treasures ship was inlaid with 108 mid-grade spirit stones, its speed became unparalleled, more than twice as fast as He Pingxing's usual sword flight. In less than 6 days, 3 days later, the two of them piloted their spaceship to Mount Wuxian. From the air, the massive Wuxian mountain appears to be bisected by a huge river. The smaller section on the right is the outer sect of the Xiaoyao immortal sect. The larger section on the left is the inner sect of the Xiaoyao immortal sect. Between the inner and outer gates lies a vast and mighty river. Legend has it that within the Xiaoyao immortal sect, there are several nascent soul stage cultivators. He Pingxing naturally dared not act rashly and quickly stopped the flying boat in front of the outer gate of the mountain. Just as they stopped, a disciple riding a white crane rushed down from the mountain and landed not far from He Pingxing. The white crane's enormous wings fluttered, stirring up gusts of wind. 10 feet above the void, the cultivator sitting atop the white crane looked down at He Pingxing and Xiao Huizhu with an arrogant expression, and said, Where did you come from, cultivator? Don't you know this is the cultivation ground of the free and unfettered immortal sect? With a gentle sweep of his divine sense, He Pingxing revealed the young man's cultivation level. The foundation stage is 1 layer. It turns out he was someone who had just established his foundation. He Pingxing was not arrogant. Instead, he respectfully cupped his hands and said, Greetings, senior brother. I am a rogue cultivator, but I have a relative who has joined your sect. I've come specifically to visit relatives. Visiting relatives. The disciple riding the crane was slightly surprised. Upon hearing that He Pingxing had come to visit relatives, he jumped off the white crane's back and stood in front of He Pingxing, asking, What is your cultivation level, what is your name, and where in my free and unfettered immortal sect do you cultivate? He Pingxing said, I don't know either. We haven't had any contact since she entered your family. As for her name, it will be Xiao Xiaoqiao. Xiao Xiaoqiao, the disciple on the crane asked. When did she join the sect? What level of cultivation did you have back then? Xiao Huizhu stepped forward and said, About 11 or 12 years ago, when I joined the sect, I was already at the 3rd level of the foundation establishment stage. I don't recognize her, said the disciple riding the crane. However, according to your description, this senior sister should have entered the inner sect back then. I'm not familiar with the inner disciples either. All right, come with me to check on our outer sect elders. Walk. After saying that, the disciple jumped onto the white crane, rode it into the sky, and headed up the mountain. In an instant, it passed through several layers of white clouds. He Pingxing and Xiao Huizhu dared not delay, and each flew on their swords, following closely behind. In the blink of an eye, they flew up the mountain, and were greeted by a moist and rich aura of immortals. As expected of a prestigious sect. Xiao Huizhu exclaimed. The spiritual energy here is much richer than that of our Qianfu mountain. He Pingxing smiled and said, this is only their outer sect. As the two flew higher, they saw a vast, calm river in the distance, its waters seemingly frozen in time. As the disciple swept across several mountain peaks, the two finally landed in front of a grand hall atop a mountain. Above the main hall were 5 more characters. Outer Gate Affairs Hall. What do you want? A male disciple dressed in a white Taoist robe walked out of the main hall. The male disciple was tall and imposing. His cultivation level had also reached the 7th level of the foundation establishment stage. The disciple riding the crane said, so it's senior brother Jean. These two said they came to visit relatives, but they didn't know where their relatives were cultivating, so I brought them along. Please enlighten me, senior brother. Senior brother Jean looked at He Pingxing and Xiao Huizhu and said, you two, come with me. The two followed senior brother Jean into the main hall. Another round of questioning followed. When senior brother Jean learned this, he was shocked and said, you are actually senior sister Xiao's relatives. Disrespect, disrespect. Senior sister Xiao is now practicing in Biyun Peak, Immortal Talisman Garden, of our Xiaoyao Immortal Sect. She is a direct disciple of Biyun ancestor. She has a bright future. Wait a moment, I will go and report it myself. Senior brother Jean quickly rose up with his sword, crossed the river in the void, and headed for the inner gate behind. After half a stick of incense, Xianxia followed senior brother Jean and hurriedly arrived at the deacon hall at the outer gate. After seeing He Pingxing and the other two, Xianxia was stunned. Didn't you mean my sister? Where is my sister? It turned out that Xiao Huizhu was still wearing He Pingxing's Jinlan Baoyi at this moment, and her appearance could only be described as ordinary. A look of anger immediately appeared on Xiaoxiao's face. Where did you take my sister? What's wrong with this woman? Her face was filled with anger. The jade hand has already been placed on the soft whip around the waist. If you like cornucopia bowl, please collect it. www.shuhaiju.net. Cornucopia Bowl Shuhage Novel Network has the fastest update speed on the entire internet. Chapter 266 Invitation to join. Xiao Huizhu suddenly realized and said, Xiao Qiao, I'm here. Xiao Qiao heard her sister's voice, paused slightly, and then said, Sister, is this really you? How did you become like this? Under Xiaoxiao's astonished gaze, Xiao Huizhu took off the Jinlan treasure robe, covering her body, revealing her true appearance. Senior brother Jean, who was standing next to him, was completely stunned. At that moment, he was stunned by Xiao Huizhu's beauty. In senior brother Jean's eyes, Xiaoxiao's appearance was already outstanding enough. She was the #1 beauty in the entire Xiaoyao Immortal Sect. Many of the male disciples in the Immortal Sect are interested in Xiao, and there are even quite a few who are jealous of each other. But this senior sister Xiao's sister is actually 3 times more beautiful than her. This is incredible. Sister. Xiao rushed over and hugged Xiao Huizhu tightly when she saw her. The two sisters cried. Xiao Huizhu asked, what happened back then? After I arrived in Redstone City, I tried to contact you several times, but I didn't receive a reply. Where's the love charm I gave you? Xiao Huizhu and He Pingxing both looked at Xiao. When the two sisters parted ways, they had a love charm. However, the love charm never worked. Xiao said, this is not the place to talk, sister, brother-in-law, come with me to the inner sect. Let's talk at my dojo.
Okay.
Xiao Huizhu nodded. Then the three of them transformed into streaks of light and flew across the vast, sea-like river, arriving at the high mountain where the inner sect was located. After passing several more mountain peaks, they finally arrived at a palace atop a mountain. He Pingxing looked around. The palace wasn't large, but it was extremely exquisite. Above the palace gate hangs a plaque with 3 characters, Shengguang Hall. The 3 activated the formation, entered the main hall, and then sat down separately, one in charge and one in charge. Xianxia said, "This is the Biyun Peak Immortal Talisman Garden of the Xiaoyao Immortal Sect. My master is the Peak Master of Biyun Peak, and this main hall was passed down to me by her." Xiao Huizhu asked, "What level of cultivation does your master possess?" Xiao said, "My master, Fairy Biyun, is a cultivator in the late stage of the Golden Core realm, and she has already reached the 10th level. She's a master talisman maker, just like our aunt." He Pingxing asked, "Xiao, how did you get through it after we parted ways at Lishan?" He Pingxing felt that he should learn more about it first. Although this woman is Xiao Huizhu's cousin, more than 10 years have passed, and we need to ask her what happened in between. On the one hand, it expresses concern. On the other hand, let's also see how she's been doing all these years. While we're at it, let's assess the risks and learn about the Xiaoyao Immortal Sect. Xiao said, "How else can we get here? My sister and I agreed to come to Liang Kingdom first and wait for each other on the border. But later, the border between Liang and Qi was sealed off." He Pingxing nodded. He knew about this. Xiao continued, "Even though it was blocked, I continued to wait, but after a whole month, there was still no news. I thought you weren't coming, so I changed locations. Just then, I encountered a heretical cultivator. That evil cultivator ambushed me from the shadows, but luckily I had a few talismans on me, which allowed me to barely hold my own. Although they eventually fled in disarray, they lost their storage bag. The elixirs, talismans, and other items inside were also stolen by that evil cultivator. I frantically hid and wandered through the deep mountains for 4 months before finally finding my way to Redstone City. So, sister, naturally my love charm can't contact you anymore." With that explained, He Pingxing and Xiao Huizhu understood. They nodded. There was a moment of silence among the 3 of them. Then, Xiao Huizhu asked, "Sister, I have something else." Xiao, you say it." Xiao Huizhu said, "I heard that there is a Golden Core stage elder in the Xiaoyao Immortal Sect. I think his name is something like Elder Bai, and he is a lecherous scoundrel."
You.
I'm worried. You didn't fall into his clutches, did you? Xiao Huizhu spoke cautiously, revealing no further information. Xiao took a deep breath and said, "No. When I first joined the Free and Unfettered Immortal Sect, I was originally assigned to Elder Bai's side, and it was said that I would become his last disciple. But before I could even formally become an apprentice, I heard that Elder Bai had passed away. Then, I became a disciple of my master, Fairy Biyun." Hearing this, Xiao Huizhu breathed a sigh of relief. She looked at He Pingxing with her beautiful eyes and smiled faintly. "It's all thanks to my husband. If you hadn't killed Bai Shangli, Xiao would really have been unable to escape his clutches this time." "Sister." At this moment, Xiao asked curiously, "How did you know I was in the Free and Unfettered Immortal Sect?"
Ah.
This. Xiao Huizhu was at a loss for words for a moment. She had forgotten to prepare this explanation.
Oh.
He Pingxing quickly added, Xiao, it's a long story. Your sister and I have tried everything to find you, but we still haven't heard from you. Later, your sister came up with an idea, to open an alchemy shop in Redstone City. That alchemy shop was named after you, called Xiao's Alchemy Shop. Later, a disciple from your Xiaoyao Immortal Sect went there, and that's how we found out you were here." He Pingxing's words were so flawless that no one could find fault with them.
Oh.
Xiao nodded, "I see. Sister, I'm so sorry. Actually, I was looking for you for the past few years. I also used the intelligence from the free and unfettered immortal sect to find out about the situation in the Qi kingdom. I heard they tightened their encirclement. I thought. You too have perished. That's why I haven't contacted you in the last few years. As she spoke, Xianxia burst into tears. It was a genuine expression of emotion, completely unpretentious. Xiao Huizhu hugged her, patted her shoulder, and said, "Don't feel guilty, after all, you didn't know I was still alive. He. Now you're at the 9th level of Foundation establishment." Xiao Xiaoqiao said, "My master is really good to me. He. Sister, do you have a place to stay now? If you don't have one, why don't you join our free and unfettered immortal sect? Master is an expert in talisman making, he's incredibly skilled, far superior to anyone from our heavenly talisman mountain. I remember you have a great talent for talisman making. Sis, I'll talk to the master, and you can join right away." No. Xiao Xiaoqiao glanced at Yi Pingxing and said, "Brother-in-law, you come too, both of you join in." Okay. Yi Pingxing smiled bitterly, "With my 5-element spiritual root, I probably wouldn't be wanted." "Don't worry." Xiao Xiaoqiao patted her chest. "I'll ask my master, she'll definitely agree." Chapter 267 Ancestor Bian, how about it? Is it okay? Xiao Xiaoqiao grabbed Xiao Huizhu's arm and shook it vigorously. Xiao Huizhu said, "This." She hesitated. I had never thought about this before coming here. When her younger sister asked, Xiao Huizhu hesitated for a breath. "Sis, stop with all that, just listen to me. Just join because I tell you to." Xiao Huizhu took a deep breath and said, "Xiao, things are different now. I can't listen to you anymore." As she spoke, Xiao Huizhu reached out and grabbed Yi Pingxing's arm. "Yi Pingxing and I have become Daoist partners, and now he is my husband. I'll listen to him." Heh. Xiao Xiaoqiao, oblivious to everything, had completely forgotten about inviting Xiao Huizhu to join the Xiaoyao immortal sect. Instead, she stared at Yi Pingxing and asked, "You and my sister, are you two together?" Yi Pingxing said, "Yes, we were already engaged." "Is there anything strange about that?" Not surprising." Xiao Xiaoqiao said, "Congratulations to you too, but, cough, how far have you two gone? Did you sleep together? Hey kid, did you take over my sister's body? Have you two had children? Where are the children?" At this point, Xiao Xiaoqiao seemed to have thought of something happy. Before Yi Pingxing could answer, she said with a strange expression, "Ahem. Brother-in-law, did you use the 19 chapters of the Phoenix Taming that I gave you last time? How was the result?" Yi Pingxing's face darkened. "This sister-in-law. Seriously, how could you ask such a question? Are you brainless?" Xiao Huizhu's face turned bright red. She stretched out her slender fingers, pinched a tuft of flesh on Xiao Xiaoqiao's waist, and said hard, "You brat, if you ask me again, I'll strangle you." He. Xiao Xiaoqiao laughed, then squatted down on the ground, clutching her stomach. After a long while, she finally came to her senses and said, Okay. Brother-in-law, what exactly do you mean? My sister is joining the immortal talisman garden of our free and unfettered immortal sect. Do you agree to it? Let me tell you." Before Yi Pingxing could speak, the woman quickly explained, "My sister has an exceptional talent for talisman making, so you should let her join. In the future, whenever you want me and my sister to have some fun, just come over to my dojo, and I'll guard the entrance for you. Is it okay?" Xiao Huizhu blushed crimson. "You brat, if you keep talking nonsense, I'm not talking to you anymore." Xiao Xiaoqiao stuck out her tongue. Yi Pingxing thought for a moment and said, "It's not impossible. Anyway, the free and unfettered immortal sect isn't far from Redstone City. If it's truly reliable, it's fine to have your sister join. Don't worry." Xiao Xiaoqiao stood up, put her hands behind her back, and looked up at Yi Pingxing. "Brother-in-law, my master is a female cultivator, and most of the disciples in our immortal talisman garden are also women. I will keep an eye on my sister. If anyone dares to make a move on her, I will kill him. Hehehe. He Pingxing said, Senior sister, joining us is a good option if you'd like. No matter what, I support you. Xiao Huizhu followed him in cultivation. Although resources were plentiful, the natural beauty of this place was still unmatched in Redstone City. All right. Xiao Huizhu said, Xiao, can you help me out? I also want to stay in the immortal talisman garden. All right, wait for me. I'll go call my master over. After saying that, Xianxia went straight out. Only He Pingxing and Xiao Huizhu remained in the temple. Husband, are you really not bothered? Xiao Huizhu looked at He Pingxing with her beautiful eyes. It's fine for me to stay with you. I like being with you. He Pingxing said, but Redstone City is not as good as this immortal sect. Don't worry, I'll always protect you. Oh, right. As he spoke, He Pingxing took out a jade slip from his storage bag and said, take a look at this cultivation technique. Xiao Huizhu didn't know what He Pingxing meant, but she obediently took the cultivation manual and started reading it. She blushed as soon as she read the outline and said, it's a dual cultivation technique. Why are you showing me this lewd stuff? Senior sister, you've misunderstood. He Pingxing said, this Joyful Union Sutra is not something vulgar. It's a heaven-rank cultivation technique. If people knew about it, who knows how many powerful figures would covet it. Moreover, some people have broken through the 11th level of the foundation establishment stage by cultivating this technique. I'm not sure if we can definitely break through this bottleneck, but we're both facing it now, so I think we should give it a try. Anyway, we were originally cultivation partners, so there's no obstacle between us. Upon hearing He Pingxing's words, Xiao Huizhu's expression instantly returned to normal. She nodded seriously and said, okay, I'll look into it later. Try practicing on your own first. When we achieve something, we'll see if we can break through the bottleneck. Xiao Huizhu is already at the 11th level. If she breaks through the bottleneck, she will face the challenge of forming her core. Once the Dao barrier is broken, with the top-grade Chaoyuan pill in He Pingxing's possession, it can be said that he can be guaranteed to reach the golden core stage. Just then, Xianxia walked in. Sister, my master said that you and brother-in-law need to go to her place together. The three of them left Xiaoxiao's dojo and soon arrived at another, even more magnificent hall. There is a stone lotus platform in the main hall. A woman who looked unusually young sat on the lotus platform. Greetings, Senior Biyun. He Pingxing and the other person bowed. Wearing a blue Taoist robe, and resembling a lotus flower, Fairy Biyun landed lightly in front of the three like a flying fairy. Not bad. Her divine sense swept over He Pingxing and Xiao Huizhu, and she asked, what spiritual roots do you both have? Spiritual roots cannot be detected using divine sense. He Pingxing said, this junior possesses a 5-element spiritual root. Xiao Huizhu said, this junior has a single ice spiritual root. Oh. Fairy Biyun looked at Xiao Huizhu and said, it's a good spiritual root. Have you encountered a bottleneck now? She only asked Xiao Huizhu, not He Pingxing. Xiao Huizhu said, yes, we've hit a bottleneck. Biyun said, there are some rare and precious materials that can help those in the foundation establishment stage break through their bottlenecks. Within my Xiaoyao immortal sect, there is a Nanchi tree, and the fruit it bears, the Nanchi fruit, is a type of fruit that can help one break through such a bottleneck. Unfortunately, these fruit trees take 60 years to mature. It will be nearly 30 years before the fruit ripens. Even without the Nanchi fruit, it's not impossible to obtain the other rare and precious materials. It will take time to find it. With your talent, reaching the golden core stage in the future shouldn't be a problem. Would you be willing to become my personal disciple? Fairy Biyun looked at Xiao Huizhu with anticipation. Chapter 268 Joining, Cooperation. Before Xiao Huizhu could speak, Fairy Biyun, as if afraid that her disciple would refuse, quickly said softly, To tell you the truth, I also have a single ice spirit root. If you become my disciple, you will inherit all my skills and my legacy. This is also what I wish for. Okay. All right. Xiao Huizhu immediately knelt on the ground. Disciple Xiao Huizhu greets Master. Okay, okay, okay. Ancestor Biyun said, Good disciple, please rise. She personally bent down and helped Xiao Huizhu up. Then, Ancestor Biyun's gaze fell on He Pingxing, and she said, I just heard Xiao Qiao say that you are Huizhu's husband. He Pingxing said, Yes. Ancestor Biyun nodded, Actually, you are quite remarkable too. Heaven's way is impartial. In fact, all talents will be repaid upon entering the nascent soul stage. Although your 5 elemental spiritual roots make the early stages of cultivation difficult and dangerous, once you reach the nascent soul stage, you will be someone that others envy. It's truly remarkable that you've cultivated to the 10th level of the foundation establishment stage. But, from your current cultivation level to the nascent soul stage, there are still abysses blocking your way. If you can get through, the road ahead will be smooth. If I can't get through this, my life is over. If you are willing, you can also become my disciple and be my personal student. But with your 5 elemental spiritual roots, I can't pass on much to you. What Patriarch Biyun said was quite fair. They didn't look down on him, nor did they overestimate him. They simply told him the truth. You're very capable. If you can reach the nascent soul stage, you'll be even more amazing. But the key is, there are still 6 major hurdles to overcome before you can reach the nascent soul stage. There are 3 bottlenecks in the foundation establishment stage and 3 bottlenecks in the golden core stage. It all depends on whether you have the luck to break through the bottleneck of the 6 paths. Thank you for your kind offer, Senior. He Pingxing cupped his hands in greeting to Ancestor Biyun and said, I have another master, so I will not join the Xiaoyao immortal sect. Furthermore, I have something else to report. Fairy Biyun said, Tell me about it. Yes. He Pingxing said, Xiao Huizhu and I are Daoist partners. Our marriage was arranged by my master and my wife's aunt. We are husband and wife in the right. I will be eternally grateful for your care of my wife in the future, and I will repay you handsomely. Oh. Biyun was now somewhat surprised. She thought that He Pingxing and Xiao Huizhu's marriage was a coincidence. I never expected that the other person was already engaged. It was decided by the elders. There's nothing more to say. All right, all right. Ancestor Biyun nodded, I understand. As for what about reporting back later, forget about it. This is my token, take it. Although you are not a member of our free and unfettered immortal sect, with this token, you can freely enter and exit the inner sect of the free and unfettered immortal sect. You can go anywhere except the forbidden areas within the sect. He Pingxing was overjoyed and accepted the token, saying, Thank you for your kindness, Senior. They practically said it outright, it's to ease the longing between you and your husband. With this thing, it will be much easier to find a wife in the future. Well, it's just a bit far away. Here you go. At the entrance of the Xiaoyao immortal sect, Xiao Huizhu gave the Jinlan treasure robe to He Pingxing. He Pingxing said, You should wear it, it will save you a lot of trouble. I'm fine. Xiao Huizhu shook her head and said, Now that your alchemy shop is becoming more and more famous, I'm afraid the people in Qi will recognize you. You should wear it, it could save your life in a pinch. I don't want to lose my husband. Also, I haven't refined it yet, so if I'm too far away from you, this garment won't be effective. Without allowing any further explanation, Xiao Huizhu gave the brocade robe back to He Pingxing. He Pingxing nodded and accepted it. Xiao Huizhu makes a good point. Now that I'm often traveling, it's time to consider these issues. He Pingxing secretly gave her some top-grade spirit gathering pills, and then flew back to Redstone City on his sword. On the way back, it also took 3 days to fly. The shop's name can be changed. He Pingxing thought for a moment and changed Xiao Xiaoqiao's alchemy shop to Taishu Alchemy Shop. As for why it was changed to this name, He Pingxing felt that this was a kind of commemoration. In the days that followed, he refined elixirs and sold them. While I'm at it, I'll also practice the Hehuan Jiji Sutra. The reputation of Taishu alchemy shop is growing. The greater He Pingxing's fame, the fewer pills he sold, but the quality of his pills kept increasing. He no longer sells first-grade and second-grade pills. They only sell elixirs of grade 3. For example, Juyuan Dan, Chaoyuan Dan, etc. Xianxia, I'm sorry. He Pingxing looked at the white-haired golden core cultivator in front of the counter and said, "This price was set by my master. One batch of top-grade, gathering yuan pills, costs 1.2 million spirit stones. It can't be any less." The gathering yuan pill is a common elixir used by golden core cultivators to enhance their cultivation, similar to the qi gathering pill for the qi refining stage and the spirit gathering pill for the foundation establishment stage. However, the gathering essence pill is a third-grade elixir. Normally, a low-grade gathering yuan pill costs 30,000 spirit stones. The medium-grade ones cost 50 to 60,000. Top grade, 100,000. This is the price per pill. One furnace costs exactly 1.2 million. Is it expensive? Of course it's very expensive. But there's a reason why it's expensive. For example, this kind of high-grade, gathering yuan pill, is actually enough for a golden core cultivator, from the first level of the golden core stage all the way to the 12th level of the golden core stage, a maximum of 20 batches. Not too many are needed. All right. The golden core cultivator had no choice but to give 1.2 million spirit stones and then leave. Just after the golden core cultivator left, Ling Jiwang, an elder of the Red Moon Merchant Guild, arrived. The person who came was not only Ling Jiwang, but also another woman wearing a red Taoist robe. Fellow Daoist Shu. Fellow Daoist Ling. The two greeted each other. Ling Ji said, "This is Elder Hong Yu, the Grand Elder of our Chamber of Commerce. A powerful cultivator at the Golden Core stage." He Pingxing was immediately startled and quickly cupped his hands in greeting, saying, "Greetings, Senior Hong Yu." He. Hong Yu chuckled, revealing 2 rows of white teeth, and said, "Fellow Daoist Shu, I've come to discuss a business deal with you." Discuss business? He Pingxing was a little surprised. This. Senior Hong Yu, please go ahead. Hong Yu said, "Your alchemy shop is quite good, and the pills you make are excellent. Do you make all of these pills by yourself?" He Pingxing said, "Senior is too kind. I can only refine second-grade pills. As for these third-grade pills, they were all refined by my master." "Oh?" Hong Yu asked, "Your master? Can I see him? What level of cultivation does he possess?" He Pingxing smiled and said, "My master is a nascent soul cultivator who is proficient in formations and alchemy." Hong Yu asked, "Then could you tell me who your master is? Perhaps I know him." He Pingxing said, "My master's Daoist name is Taishu." So, He Pingxing wasn't lying after all. Taixu. Hong Yu frowned and said, "I've never heard of it." He Pingxing said, "My master is elusive and doesn't like meeting outsiders. If there's anything you need, just tell me." "All right." Hong Yu took a deep breath and said, "It's like this, our merchant guild would like to cooperate with you, fellow Daoist." He Pingxing didn't speak, he quietly looked at Hong Yu. Hong Yu said, "Fellow Daoist Shu, although this Chamber of Commerce is named after me, it is actually subordinate to the City Lord's mansion. You should understand what I mean, right?" He Pingxing smiled. "Let me explain the background first. That's what makes it interesting." Chapter 269 Mizangyuan. He Pingxing smiled and said, "Senior Hong Yu, I really don't understand what you mean by saying these things to me. Moreover, the pills I sell here now are all affordable grade 3 pills. I rarely sell grade 1 or 2 pills anymore." "That's the problem." Hong Yu said, "Actually, if you were selling first or second grade pills, there wouldn't be a problem. Third grade pills are expensive, and they are only used by golden core cultivators. It's also a major source of profit for our Chamber of Commerce. The pills you have here are of good quality, but the price is not high. In this way, not only will they steal business from the Chamber of Commerce, but they will also drive down the price of pills throughout Redstone City. This is a bit unreasonable. He Pingxing did not answer. He knew his price was low. Normally, the price of this batch of top-grade, gathering yuan pills, would be between 1.5 million and 1.8 million spirit stones. But he only sold it for 1.2 million. And yet, they still made a fortune. Hong Yu continued, of course, logically speaking, our Chamber of Commerce has no reason to criticize fellow Daoist Shu's pricing of pills. However, this time I am not only representing the Hong Yu Chamber of Commerce, but also the City Lord's mansion of Redstone City. If things continue like this, it won't be good for anyone. So, I have a suggestion. She looked at He Pingxing. He Pingxing nodded and said, please enlighten me. Hong Yu said, first, you should stop selling the high-grade, gathering yuan pills you refine in this merchant guild. Give it to our Red Moon Merchant Guild. You're selling a furnace for 1.2 million now, and we can buy it for 1.2 million. As for mid-grade and low-grade items, you can sell them here. How about it? Hong Yu looked at He Pingxing. He Pingxing smiled and said, you mean, take it and then sell it at a high price in your Red Moon Merchant Guild? Hong Yu said, that's right, selling one batch of these pills for 1.8 million spirit stones shouldn't be a problem. Okay. He Pingxing readily agreed. Anyway, he sells it for 1.2 million in his own alchemy shop, and he also sells it for 1.2 million to the Chamber of Commerce. Why not? The key is that it doesn't affect his interests. It also reduced some of the burden. Is there anything else? He Pingxing asked. Hong Yu asked, may we meet your master? He Pingxing shook his head and said, no, my master doesn't want to see outsiders. This is closely related to his cultivation. That's the nature of his cultivation technique. I'm sorry. I see. Hong Yu said, in that case, it will be gone. However, your master is a master alchemist, and perhaps he will be able to refine that top-grade third-rank pill in the future. If he does, please be sure to put it up for auction at our auction house. Top-grade pills have special uses and are of extraordinary value. You should know that, right? He Pingxing said, I know. Moreover, my master has refined many top-grade items in the past. If there are any more in the future, he will definitely put them up for auction by your Red Moon Merchant Guild. Top-grade pills and ordinary pills are two different items. That's just how incredible it is. All right, it's settled then. After the deal was struck, Hong Yu left immediately. Ling Ji did not leave immediately. He looked at He Pingxing with a grin and said, I've also inquired about that matter you mentioned last time. We have news. He Pingxing was immediately overjoyed, really. The two were talking about the rare and precious materials needed to break through the bottleneck. Ling Ji said, look, I've tidied it up. As he spoke, he took out a piece of paper and handed it to He Pingxing, saying, 10,000 miles south of Redstone City, there is a sect called Great Spirit Valley. Inside Great Spirit Valley, there is a tree whose blood jade purple skin jujube can help one break through the bottleneck of the foundation establishment stage. However, the fruit on this tree will not ripen for another 28 years. The free and unfettered immortal sect also possesses a rare and precious material called the Nanchi tree, which bears Nanchi fruit. This fruit can be used to break through bottlenecks, but it will take another 30 years. And there's the Tan family, a major cultivation family in Luling. The Tan family's Earth Lotus will take another 72 years to mature. Ling Jiwang knew it all like the back of his hand. He Pingxing looked bitter. That's right, there are indeed quite a few rare and precious materials that can help one break through the bottleneck of the foundation establishment stage. However, it will take another 28 years before it reaches maturity. It was the blood jade purple skin jujube from the Great Spirit Valley. 28 years. Let's wait. Moreover, I have 2 bottlenecks. Brother, don't worry. Ling Ji said, these reports are actually the most desperate measures. Every now and then, Our Chamber of Commerce receives consignments of these rare and precious materials for auction. Sometimes, they also occasionally appear at trade fairs. Just participate in more trade fairs. You are now our VIP guest, and I will notify you of every trade fair from now on. He Pingsheng had no choice. Let's wait. Opportunities are something you can't ask for. After seeing Ling Ji off, He Pingsheng continued his secluded cultivation. He took out a dark, gleaming crystal, gun intent crystal. He had 2 of these, but he had never tried to understand them. Now, He Pingsheng wanted to swallow it to see if he could comprehend even a small part of the spear's essence. Just as he was about to devour the spear intent crystal, Xiao's voice came from outside. Master, Master, hurry up and come out of seclusion, someone else is looking for you. He Pingsheng's face was full of bitterness. It's true that fame brings trouble. I won't see you. He Ping said angrily. I'm going into seclusion. Xiao He walked out of the temple. A few breaths later she returned and said, Master, I'm afraid we have to see him. He says he's an old friend of yours, from the Mi family of Xianxia Mountain, and his name is Mi Zhongyuan. Who? Mi Zhongyuan? That old guy who gave me the heavenly fragrance cardamom. Okay, we definitely need to meet him. He Pingsheng quickly left the temple and went to the shop counter in front. It really was Mi Zhongyuan. This guy has white hair and a white beard, and is even dressed in all white. Her whole body was white. Aside from his somewhat unattractive features, Mi Zhongyuan is still quite pleasing to the eye. Young brother, we meet again. Mi Zhongyuan chuckled. He Pingsheng quickly cupped his hands in greeting. Greetings, Senior Mi. I wonder what advice Senior Mi has for this junior. What advice do you need? Mi Zhongyuan's face darkened, and he said solemnly, I'm begging you. Beg me. He Pingsheng said, I wouldn't dare. Senior, please come inside to talk. He invited Mi Zhongyuan to the courtyard. The 2 sat down in a pavilion in the courtyard. He Pingsheng asked, Senior, please feel free to give me any instructions. I will do my best to do anything I can. Then thank you very much. Mi Zhongyuan said, I heard that you have a master who is extremely skilled in alchemy. Is that true? He Pingsheng said, Ah, I see. Senior Mi, are you here to refine pills? Mi Zhongyuan nodded and said, Young brother, have you heard of the heavenly fragrance pill? Chapter 270 Heavenly Fragrance Pill completed. He Pingsheng was completely stunned. Mi Zhongyuan said, it's a 3rd-grade elixir that can bring people back to life. This is the formula for the Heavenly Fragrance Pill. Take a look. As they were talking, Mi Zhongyuan took out a jade slip and gave it to He Pingsheng. After He Pingsheng took it, he quickly used his divine sense to study it. The prescription wasn't long, and I finished reading it quickly. After reading it, He Pingsheng also knew what this so-called heavenly fragrance pill was. To be precise, it doesn't bring people back to life, but rather it can merge with their souls. Humans have 3 souls and 7 spirits, but there is an extremely rare situation where one's 3 souls and 7 spirits are lost for some reason. One of the 3 souls is lost, or one of the 7 spirits is lost. In this situation, the person will fall into a coma and cannot wake up. Only after the lost wisp of soul is found and merged into the body can the person in the coma wake up. The problem is, how do we integrate them? Ordinary cultivators cannot merge their soul and body into one. At this point, a kind of elixir that can fuse the soul and the body into one is needed. There are many kinds of these elixirs. There are officials of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th ranks. Different levels of cultivation require different grades of pills. The 3rd grade pill that can fuse with the soul is called the Heavenly Fragrance Pill. Understood. He Pingsheng placed the jade slip back on the table and said, Senior means to refine this Heavenly Fragrance Pill. Mi Zhongyuan stood up, put his hands behind his back, looked up at the sky in the courtyard, and said calmly, I have a Daoist partner who, 100 years ago, went wrong while practicing his cultivation and lost one of his 3 souls in the process. Fortunately, I was right next to her at the time, so I used the soul-nourishing wood to collect the soul that had drifted out of her body. But she fell into a coma from then on. For 100 years, I have been trying to save her, but I have failed. That's not right. He Pingxing said, third-grade pills are difficult to refine, but it's not that there's no one who can refine them. Can't you find it? Can't find it. Mi Zhangyuan shook his head and said, young brother, there is a main ingredient in this heavenly fragrance pill called Heavenly Fragrance Sacred Cardamom. This item is a third-grade rare and precious herb, differing from that Heavenly Fragrance Cardamom by only one character. But the results are worlds apart. He Pingxing looked at the jade slip again. Only then did they discover that one of the main ingredients of Qianxiang Dan was indeed Qianxiang Shengkou, which is only one character different from Qianxiang Duku. I have been searching for this heavenly fragrance sacred cardamom for 80 years. Mi Zhangyuan said. I can be almost certain that this item has probably become extinct on this land. Even if they haven't completely disappeared, and there are still a few left, they're all deep in the mountains and forests. You might not be able to find them even if you spend your whole life searching for them. I had already given up hope. Later, I met a senior who told me that the prescription for this elixir could actually use the second-grade Heavenly Fragrance Cardamom to replace the third-grade Heavenly Fragrance Sacred Cardamom. However, the efficacy of this second-grade heavenly material is different from that of the third-grade material. Therefore, if you want this pill to have the same effect, you must upgrade its quality to the highest grade. Young man, do you understand what I'm saying? He Pingxing understood. The original main ingredient of Qianxiang Dan was Qianxiang Shengkou, a third-grade spiritual material. However, since Qianxiang Shengkou is no longer available, we are using the second-grade spiritual material Qianxiang Duku as a substitute. But for this substitute to be effective, it must be of the highest quality. Over the years, Mi Zhangyuan has been unable to find an alchemist capable of refining top-grade pills. I heard a while ago that your alchemy shop could refine top-grade third-rank golden pills, so I came to take a look. I never expected that you were the one who opened this alchemy shop. Young man, could you lend me a hand? Mi Zhangyuan looked at He Pingxing. This. He Pingxing hesitated for a moment. He had already decided to help Mi Zhangyuan. However, he couldn't be so quick to accept it, since all his pills were made by that fabricated master. My master can indeed refine top-grade pills when he's lucky. However, this is not 100% certain. Moreover, it will also consume some spiritual liquid from heaven and earth. Mi Zhangyuan said, of course I know. All expenses will be covered by me, Mi Zhangyuan. No. He Pingxing said, that's not what I meant, Senior Mi. Actually, what I meant was, nothing in this world is 100% certain. If you trust me and are willing to entrust these medicinal herbs to me, I will naturally have my master do his best to refine them. Whether it will ultimately be a top-quality product cannot be guaranteed. Although He Pingxing was still confident in producing top-grade pills. But one cannot speak with absolute certainty. What if the oven explodes? Who can guarantee 100% accuracy? All right, then I'll leave it to you, young brother. Mi Zhangyuan took out a jade box and said, there are 2 sets of materials for the heavenly fragrance pill, but I can only give you 1 set. Whether you succeed or fail, I won't blame you. If you truly succeed in refining a top-grade pill, I will certainly reward you handsomely. As for the other copy I'm keeping, it's to give myself a glimmer of hope. All right. He Pingxing carefully took the jade box and said, please wait a moment, Senior. I will go find my master and have him refine the pills for you. It might take a few days. All right. Mi Zhangyuan nodded and said, I will wait here. He Pingxing hurriedly left the alchemy shop with the medicinal herbs and the prescription. Then, after wandering around the city a few times, he finally returned to his own little courtyard. The formation is activated. These are all third-grade formations. The third-level Forbidden God formation, Early Warning formation, etc. Even if a monk in the nascent soul stage came over, He Pingxing could still deal with it. The first thing, strengthen the medicinal materials. He Pingxing put all the medicinal materials into the cornucopia and began to strengthen them, while he himself began to study the elixir recipe. A few days later, the medicinal materials were strengthened into 2 parts, and the elixir prescription was copied down by He Pingxing and strengthened by the way. After studying it, I started to refine the elixir. His request was very simple. He didn't ask for a perfect elixir, but at least he had to give me a useless elixir. But you can't blow up the furnace. To be on the safe side, He Pingxing even added a dozen drops of Golden Bee Holy Jelly into the alchemy furnace. Golden Bee Holy Jelly is a 2nd-grade spiritual liquid, and it is no longer very effective for 3rd-grade elixirs. Just add some. But the results are good. The first batch of 3rd-grade elixir actually became an elixir. He Pingxing was stunned for a dozen breaths. He originally just wanted to refine a furnace of waste elixirs, but it just turned into elixirs. There are 12 pills in a batch, all of which are inferior. Although they are all low-grade, this is the first time that He Pingxing has refined a 3rd-grade elixir in a real sense. If you like Cornucopia Bowl, please collect it. www.shuhaiji.net. Cornucopia Bowl Shuhage Novel Network has the fastest update speed on the entire internet.